Contrary to popular belief, confidence is not born. In this video, I'm going to give you 4 tips that are going to help you go from shy girl to the most confident woman in the room. We are leaving the shy, insecure girl in 2023 and going into 2024 being the most confident, leveled up versions of ourselves. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, keep on watching. So I want to preface this video by saying that I have not always been a confident person at all. I used to be so shy, so insecure, and I just didn't dare speak to anyone. I didn't dare do anything. I didn't know how to do anything. I just kept myself to myself and I didn't really put myself out there. It genuinely used to haunt me how unconfident I was, when deep down inside I knew that I was not that girl. I knew that I wasn't shy. I knew that I was loud and bubbly. I knew that that was my authentic self, but I just felt so stunted and I felt like I couldn't express my true authentic self. I think a lot of us girls can fall in this trap of being shy and being insecure because that's kind of how society makes us feel like we need to be. We're always told to be humble and to not brag too much and to not compliment ourselves and say that we look nice. Especially in the UK, I feel like a lot of the culture of the UK is to make self-deprecating jokes and put yourself down constantly. So all of that mixed together was just a combination for me just not being confident at all. Tip number 1, become self-aware. This tip is so important, and even if you think that you're self-aware, because I know that I thought that I was self-aware, just challenge yourself to be that extra bit more self-aware. Get to know yourself on a deeper level. Now, I'm not telling you to be hyper-vigilant about every single little thing that you do and alter every single thing that you do to suit different people, because I know that I was stuck in that state before as well, but it's so important to be self-aware and to just be aware of your bad traits, the things that you don't like about yourself, the traits that you leave in the shadows because you're embarrassed about them, the times where you're in the wrong and the ways that you can be better to not be in the wrong as much. I think it's just really important for your confidence levels for you to get to know yourself first before anybody else can tell you about yourself. Because I was so unconfident when I was a teenager, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know myself on that deeper level. So because of that, people just told me about myself. People told me who I was, and I just took that as gospel truth because I didn't know anything better. It is going to be so hard for you to be confident if you are basing it off this unstable foundation of other people's opinions, because everyone else is going to have a different opinion about you. Every single different person will have a different opinion of you. And if they're projecting that onto you and you're taking that on board, it just gets so confusing and complicated. So you eliminate that by actually getting to know yourself first and learning all the things that I mentioned before. So the things that you don't like about yourself, the things about your physical appearance that you don't like about yourself, and the things about your personality that you don't like about yourself. Getting really clear on those things and not hiding from them. I used to journal in a way that it was very performative, in a way that it was like somebody else was going to read that journal, because I always thought that my mum was going to find my journal. So I would write in my journal in a way that it would be acceptable if she found it, or if somebody else found it, or if it got recovered like I was Anne Frank in like 100 years. I never used to be truthful to myself, but recently I've started journaling purely from an authentic place, and the things I truly don't like about myself, the things that I don't even dare say out loud necessarily, I've become really open and honest with myself about those things. Because the thing is, if you have these things about you and you're just trying to hide them, you're probably not doing that great of a job. Like, people might actually know that thing about you, but they might not say it, or they might say it later on down the line, and then that's gonna throw you off track completely. But even taking other people out of the equation, you don't want to be hiding from yourself. You want to know everything about yourself. I find so much joy in learning about myself to the point where it's ridiculous. I feel like that is my hobby. I'm really obsessed with astrology. I'm obsessed with human design, anything like that, like personality tests. I am so obsessed with, because I just love learning about myself. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's that feeling of feeling seen by a system like astrology. I feel like when I read my birth chart, I feel the most seen and heard that I've ever felt in my whole entire life, because my birth chart is so accurate. It makes so much sense and it brings me so much peace. So those are a couple of tools that you can use. You can find out your birth chart, you can find out your human design, you can find out your personality type. Just get to know yourself on that deeper level, and then nobody can tell you shit. Nobody is going to be able to knock your confidence, because you know who you are and you're fully integrated those traits and the things that you don't like about yourself back within yourself, and and you fully accept them and embrace them because that is who you are. And if the things that you don't like, you don't want them to be who you are, then this gives you the opportunity to work on them and to not have these traits. It is the perfect time for you to do this when you are having a self-love isolation period, which I've got a whole video about. When we have a self-love isolation period where we're cutting out social media, we're cutting out all the external noise, you're going to find that you have so much time on your hands to get to know yourself and to do things that are going to better yourself. We don't realize just how much our phones dictate our lives and how much time they take up. So once you take the phone out of the equation, you are going to realize that you have so much time, and you can use that time investing that into yourself and getting to know yourself. Tip number 2, work on your self-concept. You want to identify as a confident girl in order to be a confident girl or woman. And you can literally rewire your brain to think that way with a little bit of self-concept work. Self-concept work has changed my whole entire life. And I think there's an element of fake it till you make it in this. And I've always gone by fake it till you make it. That has always worked so well for me. When I was in school, when I was like 16, I started to get a little bit of a boost of confidence. I remember this was around the time that I started watching Patricia Bright on YouTube, and oh my god, I love Patricia Bright so much. She is my muse. I adore Patricia Bright. Oh my god, back in the day, I used to love Patricia Bright, and I listened to a podcast with her recently, and it was just amazing. It reminded me of just how much she inspires me. Yeah, so I started getting this confidence around the age of 16, and I genuinely remember, because I wanted to be an actress. I had no experience or anything like that of acting. I was never put in like extracurricular classes or anything like that. I never did anything hobby-wise when I was a kid. So I had no experience of that whatsoever. I had no reason to think that I could be an actress, but I really wanted to be an actress. So I remember saying to myself, the only way that I'm going to be an actress is if I fake my confidence and pretend to be this confident person, because that's all I thought that acting was, just pretending to be somebody else. So I really and truly embodied this confident alter ego that I created in my mind. I envisioned myself being this confident actress. I envisioned myself being on Hollyoaks. I always remember I wanted to be on Hollyoaks. That's a UK soap opera. I really wanted to be on that. So I would just embody the confident traits of my favorite characters on that. I used to love Georgie Porter, and I used to want to be as confident as she appeared to be. So I would take inspiration from other people and take the traits that I like about them, and I would try to really bring that into my personality. I would completely identity shift into this confident version of myself, because I knew that was the only way that I was going to become confident. Because the girl that I was, I did not associate confidence with her. It would have felt really weird for me to think that I could have been confident. So I had to really rewrite my story and really rewrite my self-concept. I obviously didn't know it was known as self-concept work back then. I don't even know if that is really what is classed as self-concept work, but I guess it kind of is. So I used to do that when I was 16, and I remember going into college, I just remember thinking, this is a brand new fresh slate and I can pretend to be whoever I want to be. And that's exactly what I did. Another way that you can do self-concept work, and this is something that I've done more recently, because obviously there's been layers of the confidence journey for me and the self-love journey. So when I was 16 years old, I obviously wasn't anywhere near as confident as what I am now. I barely scraped the surface when it came to confidence, even though it felt like I made a big jump. It was a big jump for back then, but compared to now, it was nothing. So there's been layers, but more recently, I knew that in order to become the confident, magnetic woman that I wanted to be, I had to genuinely be delusional, and I had to tell myself that I am amazing, I am abundant, I am magnetic, I attract blessings into my life. I had to tell myself that even when it wasn't true, even when I wasn't a magnetic person, even when I felt like everybody hated me and thought that I was so miserable and shy and not confident. I just had to tell myself affirmations every single morning. I have been listening to Lavender affirmations since the beginning of the year. At the beginning of one of my videos, it's more of like a vlog style video, I can't remember what it's called, but I was listening to Lavender affirmations then, and I remember I was getting back into it fully, and I genuinely feel like those affirmations, even though when I started listening to them at the beginning, I was thinking, how is this going to change my life? Like, how is this going to make any kind of impact on my life? with me just saying these statements that aren't actually true and I don't believe them to be true? Like, how is that going to make an impact on my life? I stuck to the process. I listened to them every single morning on my drive home from my boyfriend's in the morning. I put the affirmations on and I repeat them as I'm driving. I used to just put them on and just let them play. Then my thoughts would wander, so I ended up just having to repeat the affirmations. And I don't know what kind of witchcraft it has done, but it has helped me so much. I feel like my whole perception of myself has completely shifted and I can't quite tell when that happened. The only thing I know is that I've been listening to affirmations most mornings about confidence and self-esteem, abundance, all that kind of thing. And I genuinely feel like my life has shifted so much. My perspective has shifted. If you're viewing yourself as a confident woman, if you're telling yourself that you are confident every single day, that you can walk into a room and all eyes are on you, you're gonna start to notice these things actually happening because your attention is on them. Like I was saying in my last video, I just noticed so many amazing blessings happening to me, and I noticed so many people interacting with me in such a wholesome and nice way. It's unbelievable, and I don't quite know when the shift happened, but it happened, and I genuinely feel like affirmations had a massive part to play in that. So working on your self-concept is really going to alter the way that you show up in the world, because if you see yourself as a confident girl and you identify as a confident girl, you are going to naturally show up confidently because you want to live up to that expectation that you've got of yourself, to that identity that you have. A confident woman slash girl would not walk into a room like this, hunched over on her phone, not really daring to look at anybody. No, a confident woman is going to walk in that room with her head held high, shoulders back, heart chakra beaming, and all eyes are going to be on her. In her mind, in my mind, all eyes are on me. Everybody looks up to me, everybody adores me, everybody loves me. You've genuinely got to be that delusional, and I know that that's not the case. Like, I know that everyone's not looking at me, and I know that it's giving like God complex vibes, but that is genuinely something that's helped me so much. Even though it's extreme, even though it seems delusional, I feel like it's better to be delusional and happy than be not delusional and very cynical of the world. Tip number 3, now it's time for you to get proof. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. I don't care how difficult it is in the beginning and how bad you feel like you are at a certain thing. You need to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and you need to do difficult things in order to build confidence. Yes, the first 2 tips were absolutely amazing and great, and they are so essential, but I feel like it is very important in consolidating that confidence to actually put it to the test and put yourself in uncomfortable situations where you need to be confident. Get yourself a job in retail or hospitality, a job where you have to speak to people very often and you have to interact with different people in the public. Yes, it is going to be hard in the beginning. No one ever said that it was going to be easy, and this was definitely a common misconception for me, because I genuinely thought that if I wasn't good at something when I first started it, like within the first week, that I was a failure. I just thought that I was a failure. I was haunted by this idea that
people are just naturally gifted and people are naturally talented.
People don't come out of the womb knowing how to answer a phone call, or knowing how to take orders at a restaurant, or knowing how to do anything in the corporate world. You just don't know that. It's not common knowledge. So if you start a job and you're not very good at it, well done, that is completely normal. Like, you are human. It can feel so difficult when you start a new job because everyone there will have years and years of experience under their belt, and in my personal experience I found people to be quite condescending, quite patronizing, lacking patience, not really wanting to put the time into training me, even though I was a brand new apprentice at this job. And it can make you feel like, oh my god, I'm worthless, I don't know how to do this, I'm so bad at this, and that makes your confidence go downhill so much. So in order for you to boost your confidence, I'm gonna need you to realize that things aren't gonna be easy in the beginning, and I'm gonna need you to accept that as a truth. Now, you might say that's limiting, but I feel like that's quite freeing to feel like, yeah, I don't have to be good at everything when I first started. When you first started walking, you didn't just get up and fucking walk. You had to get up, fall down, get up, fall down, get up, fall down. You had to keep trying over and over again, and it was only the practice that actually got you to get up and walk. In my first corporate job, I had so many confidence knocks. It was unbelievable. I had so many people, it felt like they were trying to tear me down, and to be fair, it probably was the case because it was a small private firm and everyone was a little bit set in the ways. Obviously, I loved them towards the end of working there, but in the beginning, it felt like everyone just wanted to see me fail. Everyone wanted me to do really badly. I got slated for the way I talked, the way I did things, just everything I got slated for. If I wasn't good at doing a job straight away, if it took me longer than a week to learn how to do something, I was penalized for it. And we would have these meetings with my little team and I would get told like, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. I even got told that the way I spoke was like I worked in a corner shop, which I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what she was trying to insinuate, because how does someone who works in a corner shop talk? I don't know. I feel like she was maybe trying to say that I spoke not very eloquently. I don't know. But that was such a knock to me, because I remember the girl who I started the job with, who was the same age as me, she was very well spoken, very eloquent. She had a lot of charisma. She knew how to be with people and she knew how to win people over, whereas I didn't necessarily have that level of what she had. And it really did hurt. It hurt at the time, but instead of letting that comment consume me and make me feel like, oh my God, I am the worst person ever, I am destined to fail, I used that as constructive criticism. I am so thankful for that comment, because if I didn't hear that comment, I wouldn't have worked on the way that I speak. I wouldn't have worked on the way I enunciate things and talk on the phone. I probably would have carried on speaking the way that I spoke. So that comment was completely necessary. You need to fail, you need to do things wrong, you need to get negative feedback sometimes in order to improve yourself and in order to build confidence. When I left that job, I worked there for about 6-7 years. When I left that job, I was like a rock. Everybody used to come to me, everybody loved me, everyone wanted to come to me for advice, everyone knew that I knew everything what there was to know about my department and other departments, because I worked in other departments in that law firm, and I was so confident. I used to genuinely walk through the office like it was a catwalk. It was like an open office and I had to walk through every single department to get a drink of water, and it was kind of low-key, a little bit intimidating, but I used to walk down that like it was a catwalk, and I used to smile at everyone and be like, hi, how's everyone doing, blah blah blah. I was so confident, and that came from years of mastering my craft, mastering the job role, getting really good at it. The same goes with my job that I've got on the side now. So I work in a Thai restaurant as a part-time job. When I first started that job a year ago, I despised it. I hated it so much because I was so bad at it. It really questioned everything that I thought I knew about myself, all that confidence that I built in that corporate job. It questioned all of it. It ripped it to the ground and I was stripped bare. I hated that feeling. I hated that uncomfortable feeling, and it brought back those insecure feelings that I had when I was 18 years old getting this apprenticeship at the law firm. But I stuck it out. I learned from my mistakes. I turned up every single weekend, and now I am so confident in that job role. I know how to do it like it's second nature. That is the beauty of life. You need to keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in order to boost your confidence. And I genuinely feel like me doing that, me pushing myself out of my comfort zone constantly, because I do, it has helped my confidence so much. And all of that is going to just consolidate all of that self-concept work that you're doing and all the getting to know yourself. It's just going to consolidate it all. Everything doesn't need to be perfect overnight. You don't need to know everything straight away. You can just embrace the process of being bad at things and know that you are going to get better and know that you are going to be more confident in time. It just takes practice. But it's also so important to know when you've reached a comfort level and then to push yourself out of it, because I know that it would be so easy to stay in certain situations where it's not challenging me anymore. And tip number 4, build up your roster of knowledge on different topics. A lot of the time, our lack of confidence comes from awkwardness and social anxiety and not knowing what to say in a social situation. You are going to completely eliminate that by learning new things, keeping up to date with current affairs, knowing what's going on in the political world, learning about interesting topics that people are going to want to hear about. The more that you learn and the more that you become a student of life, you are going to find that you always have something to say. You are never going to be stuck for words, because there is always going to be something to talk about. Oh my God, for the longest time, I genuinely didn't even put any time into doing anything for myself, into doing any hobbies, into learning anything new. I just invested all of my time into education and learning about what I was learning about in school and college and uni, and I didn't actually put the time in to learn about things I was actually interested in. Even if that's just you have a little bit of an interest in history, King Henry VIII, if you have an interest in, I don't know, food, if you have an interest in science, if you have an interest in quantum physics, whatever it is, hone in on that. Use your spare time to learn these things and learn about them so you have things to talk about. You have more things to provide and bring to the table when you're in a social situation. Of course, you're not going to feel confident if you're in a room full of people who have so much to say and so much to talk about current affairs and political situations and everything that's going on in the world, and you don't know what the fuck they're talking about. All you can bring to the table is what you learned at school in maths, or in fact, you probably don't even remember anything that you learned in school. Let me just take that back, because I know that I don't remember like anything that I learned in school. It's like that episode of Friends, you know, where that guy's trying to sell encyclopedias, is it encyclopedias or thesauruses to Joey, and he wants to buy one because he feels like when he's in a group situation with his friends, he doesn't know what anyone's talking about and he has nothing to add to the conversation. So he buys a thesaurus and learns all about things beginning with V so that he can talk about things with his friends. And the same goes here. The more you genuinely get interested about life and what's going on in the world and finding what you are actually interested in. I had no idea that I would ever be interested in quantum physics. I hated science at school. I despised it. I loathed it. But just recently, this past year, I've been learning shitloads about quantum physics. I absolutely love it. It's so interesting to me. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work is fascinating. It's mind-blowing. It's changed the way that I look at things. But I would never have known that if I'd have never picked up his book, if I'd have never have listened to that YouTube video that told me about the book and made me want to read it. I would never have known that if I had a closed mind to everything that there is to learn in the world. You don't want to be closed-minded, because closed-minded people, they just don't get very far in life. They just stay in their little bubble, being all closed-minded, being all miserable, telling people that they can't do this, they can't do that, and trying to bring people down. You don't want to be like that. You want to be confident. You want to be feeling empowered and knowledgeable and being a student of life. It is so interesting when you get interested about life, about culture, about anything. Just become a little bit literate and read books, listen to audiobooks, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, whatever it is, just start learning. And any hobby, if you have a hobby, like, you don't necessarily need to be reading books. You could just be, I used to flip between different hobbies all the time. Like, I used to think that I wanted to be a pole dancer, so I used to go to pole dance classes for a few months, and I used to do Pilates all the time, then I used to do yoga all the time. To be fair, I still do yoga. All these different things, I would just flip between them, and I never really gave them a good enough run for their money. Like, I used to just give up because I thought, oh well, I'm not good at this. But when you actually have a hobby and you are really good at it, you're just gonna feel so confident because you know how to do something. You've seen your growth from start to finish, and that is the most empowering thing. It really just builds up your confidence in yourself. Like, it just makes you feel so good. Do not underestimate the power of hobbies and the power of learning things and just enriching your life and your brain and yourself as a person. Okay guys, I'm gonna leave that there. If you have any more questions on confidence, I am more than happy to answer them in the comments. I have so much more I could talk about on this topic. Like every video, I feel like I've always got so much more to talk about it. So a little bit of feedback on what you thought of this topic, and if you enjoyed it, would be amazing. It would help me so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel and being so kind in the comments and just being so wholesome and sweet. I truly appreciate every single comment, every single subscribe, every single like that you leave me. I appreciate it so much. I hope you're all having amazing weeks. I hope you're all getting ready for Christmas, and I hope you've done or are doing your Christmas shopping, because I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of like, I've done some Christmas shopping, but I do it in a really disorganized way. Like, I just shop with my heart. I go to the shop, I see cute things that I like, and I think, oh, so-and-so would like this, so-and-so would like that. And then it seems like I've not really gotten anything for anyone because I've just gotten the random little bits that I can't really piece together, and then I need to get them more things. It's a whole hot mess, but I'm getting there kind of, I think. I've also got birthdays around this time of the year, so it gets really confusing because I'm like, right, I need to buy double the amount of presents for different people. But this is your reminder to Christmas shop if you've not. Get it all done. You don't want to be stressing about it when it's like a week before Christmas, because I know that's always me. You want to be able to, if you want to, go to the shops near Christmas and not have any pressure to have to get presents. You can just go around the shops, you can go around the Christmas markets, you can get your little hot chocolate, and you can just relax. You don't need to worry about queuing up for ages and things and dealing with all the manic crowds. You can just relax. Okay, my camera's dying now, but thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.